Hi, this is Jim from NJ Cigar and Whiskey. We're here today smoking the H. Upmann by AJ Fernandez, and we're drinking Kilbeggan Single Pot Still. The H. Upmann by AJ Fernandez in Toro size is a 6x54 stick with a milk chocolate Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. It's got a Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan and Dominican fillers. Kilbeggan Single Pot Still Irish Whiskey is distilled by Kilbeggan Distilleries, which has a license to distill dated back to 1757. The distillery reopened in 2007 and is currently owned by Beam Suntory. So we're going to get into this cigar. We're going to give it a cut. My V cut. And we're going to give it a light. This is a delicate cigar. One of my favorite smokes. Smoked a few of these before I decided to review it. Hope everybody's doing well. Good smoke output on the initial light. A little bit of pepper. This is one you feel on your tongue. Sweet tobacco behind it. And a little bit of hay. So that's the start. We're going to get it into about a third of this. We'll be back to let you know what flavors we have. Okay, we're back, and you can see we're into the first third of our H. Upmann. And pepper still remains. It's died down a little bit. And the hay is still there. On the retrohale, you get some red pepper. Pair it with the Kilbeggan Single Pot Still that we talked about before. That combines with the woody finish of the cigar really well. You know, people think that when you're pairing a cigar, it's got to be a light cigar with a light drink, but not necessarily true. It's really about the flavor, so it's not necessarily the color of the cigar. This tends to be a pretty flavorful cigar from my experience smoking them a little bit. And the Kilbeggan being kind of the middle of the flavor impact of the three single pot stills that I have, I think the Kilbeggan is the perfect match for me. Really brings out like that deep pear, honey pear taste of the Kilbeggan. So nice pairing. Talk about the H. Upmann a little bit. This is a cigar. It's a cigar made by AJ Fernandez for the company H. Upmann, which was a Cuban, one of the Cuban originals like Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo. And then there was H. Upmann. H. Upmann fell in some hard times. You know, once the Cuban embargoes happened, and they sort of became stale. And so AJ Fernandez approached him, said, "Hey, I'll blend for you," and ended up being a really nice marriage. This is very different than any other H. Upmann I've tried. I've tried the H. Upmann Cameroon and the H. Upmann original. Which, to be honest with you, the H. Upmann original is the one I like the least. This, to be honest, is what I like the best. So we'll keep smoking and come back, and when we're about into our second third. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, we're about halfway through our stick. The ash just fell off one huge chunk, and you can see the burn is flawless, which is, indicates flawless construction. And I've come to expect that from these, and most things that AJ Fernandez does. Flavors remain the same. You have still that spice. I mean, my tongue is actually pretty numb. Cedar, some baking spices in there. The retrohale still has a good bit of red pepper. Sometimes you have to sneeze when you're retrohaling this, and a nice vanilla cedar on the finish. Some of that's probably influenced by the Kilbeggan. Still that vanilla, honey, pear. Just a delicious combination. So we'll smoke this down to the last third. We'll get rid of the bands, and when we come back, we'll let you know how it's going. Okay, we're back. We're right about to that second band. Again, the ash fell off in a huge chunk. And so we'll take off this second band. And it comes off pretty easy. Sometimes they put a little too much glue on it. This wrapper is an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. It has a lot of flavor, but it tends to be really thin. So if you get a little bit too much glue on your band, sometimes you pull off a little wrapper. And I've noticed with these that when that happens, they can unravel on you pretty quickly and pretty severely. The fillers, they say, are both Nicaraguan and Dominican, but I'll tell you, a lot more Nicaraguan than Dominican. You can tell by the spice that comes off the retrohale and that sits on your tongue. Definitely still some spice. Again, really a red pepper spice. And the cedar notes have died down a little bit, and it's a little more wood. Like wood, sawdust wood. You do a lot of woodworking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's still sweet. A really nice flavor. And a hint of cinnamon. And just a little bit more of the Kilbeggan. Which again, I just can't say enough. Pairs really well with this cigar. I hope everybody's staying safe and staying inside. You can order your cigars online. You can get curbside pickup at Lit. A couple other places like Holt's, you can order them online. And now you can even get curbside pickup and home delivery of your whiskey. Check your local liquor store and see if they'll provide that service. We'll come back in a few minutes when we're ready to wrap this up, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, welcome back. We're about to finish up here. I'm going to show you the burn real quick. Little bit wonky. This didn't require any touch-ups, which again is consistent with AJ Fernandez. We had one slight, not even crack, but where the wrapper came loose. A little bit of spit kind of helps keep it together. But sometimes, again, when these get to the end, they start to unravel and fall apart. And when the wrapper goes, so goes most of the flavor. So we'll probably end up putting that down. So in the end, I have to admit, it's one of my favorite cigars. It's one of my daily smokes. And we're going to let this car go by. Can't do anything about that. It pairs very well with Kilbeggan single pot still. None of the flavors really cancel each other out. They actually complement each other pretty well. So if you're looking to have a relaxing night, H. Upmann by AJ Fernandez is a great cigar to do that with. If you're going to pair it, feel free to pair it with really any single pot still, but highly recommend the Kilbeggan single pot still. In summary for the H. Upmann though, to me it was a full-bodied, which means a lot of flavor cigar with I would say a medium strength. Doesn't give you any like head rush or anything, but you know you're smoking something. Great smoke output throughout, even burn throughout, and pretty consistent flavors. Some a little bit more complex than most people give it credit for. You can usually get them relatively cheap. Brick and mortar, they're about $8.99 for a Toro size, which is what I just smoked, and you can get them online sometimes as cheap as $4.99 for those same Toros if you're going to buy a box. Smoke time on it was about an hour and a half, so pretty enjoyable night. If you guys like that, like I said, go pick them up. Thanks for spending some time smoking a cigar with me. Hope to see you again. N&J Cigar and Whiskey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And according to my son, you gotta click that ring-a-ding bell in order to get those alerts.